Majority of Americans support increasing U.S. military presence near Taiwan. Mortally wounded, Russian despot could launch Stalin-style purge. Putin blasts Wagner, traitors, after Prigozhin denies coup plot. Crowds cheer Wagner troops in the city of Rostov-on-Don. Honduras brings in curfews after night of violence. Greek conservatives win as mandate for reform. South Korean airlines cut flights to China amid lukewarm demand. North Korea holds rallies denouncing U.S.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It's Tuesday, June 27th, and here are your top stories. According to the results of a Reagan Institute poll shared with Fox News on Sunday, more than half of Americans, 56%, said that they would support an increase in U.S. military presence as a way to discourage China from invading Taiwan, and 30% indicated they would oppose such a move. Because of the threat facing Taiwan, the Reagan Institute poll found that 52% of Americans support the idea of increasing U.S. arms sales to Taiwan in an effort to deter China, compared to 31% who oppose such a move.
Americans also voiced support for U.S. lawmakers who have held meetings with leaders from Taiwan, with 61% saying the lawmakers were right, because they showed support for a threatened democracy, while 21% said those meetings were wrong as they risked provoking China. Overall, respondents showed overwhelming support for increasing the strength of the military. The Ronald Reagan Institute said the survey shows the American people want the United States to demonstrate leadership in the world.
UK government officials are warning the mortally wounded despot could carry out a Stalin-style purge to cling onto power, and Britain must prepare for the sudden collapse of Vladimir Putin's regime. A senior source in the UK government told The Times that this could be chapter 1 of something new. The chairman of the Foreign Affairs Select Committee in the UK Parliament, Alicia Kearns, said no one believes that Prigozhin is going to Belarus, and there's nothing more that Putin hates than a traitor.
Prigozhin's whereabouts were unknown last night, with no sign that he had arrived safely in Belarus. A spokesman for Prigozhin told Russian broadcaster RTVI he was out of contact. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said he didn't believe, "We've seen the final act," in the Wagner-Putin rebellion. Blinken suggested that the whirlwind 24-hour mutiny led by Yevgeny Prigozhin showed real cracks in Putin's hold on power. Putin addressed these issues during a nationally broadcast speech late on Monday night.
Bloomberg reported that on Monday, Vladimir Putin condemned leaders of the Wagner mercenary group as traitors to Russia in a late-night speech to the nation, his first public comment since the mutiny that posed the most serious threat to his nearly quarter-century rule. Putin said the organizers of the rebellion betrayed their country and their people, and betrayed those who were dragged into the crime, lied to them, pushed them to death under fire. However, Putin didn't mention anyone by name in his speech.
К личному составу вооруженных сил, правоохранительных органов и специальных служб.
Putin spoke hours after Wagner leader Yevgeny Prigozhin said he wasn't trying to oust Putin's government in an 11-minute audio message on his press service's Telegram channel. In addition, Russian state media reported earlier on Monday that the criminal case against Prigozhin opened at the start of the crisis still hasn't been closed. On the other hand, Putin addressed Wagner fighters in his speech by saying, "The promise I made will be fulfilled," meaning they could join the regular military, go home, or relocate to Belarus.
Wagner Group fighters were cheered by the public as they withdrew from the Russian city of Rostov-on-Don overnight and headed back to their field camps. But their leader, Yevgeny Prigozhin, has not yet appeared in Belarus. The mercenary group's chief reached a deal with the Kremlin after an extraordinary sequence of events that saw his troops claim Russian cities Rostov-on-Don and Voronezh, home to Russian nuclear weapons, and then begin their march on Moscow.
Videos posted on Russian messaging app channels from Rostov-on-Don showed people cheering Wagner troops as they departed. Some people even appeared to run to shake hands with Prigozhin, who was riding in an SUV. The brief revolt was documented by audio and video updates from Prigozhin, but he appears to have gone silent since agreeing to turn back from Moscow. Wagner Group soldiers, under the command of Prigozhin, moved unimpeded into Rostov-on-Don and advanced to within 120 miles of Moscow.
这次加薪的幅度呢，我认为会是落在10%到15%这样的一个区间。跟其他员工最大的不同部分呢，是我能够就像刚刚提到的，我可以在一个企划案还没有生成的时候，我可以先有一个远大的目标，我能够知道整个 big picture 是什么东西。
不好意思。
我的针对于这样的一个认可度，我大概有70-80%的把握，我可以获得升迁及加薪。
Johnny， 那个非常不好意思，我可能要在这边告知你，你已经被资遣了。对，是真的非常抱歉。那可能要麻烦你在下礼拜5之前，就是把你的个人物品先收拾干净，这样。有没有什么事我可以帮你的吗？那如果没有什么问题的话，再麻烦你把你的员工证交回给原主管，这样。好，那如果没有什么问题的话，我们今天就到这边。真的非常不好意思。
我可以知道是什么原因吗？
有同仁反映，最近冰箱的食物很常不见，我常常看到你在附近徘徊。我买的面包也是买了，然后一个下午就不见了。你该不会知道什么？
我不知道。
What we do, master your English and become irreplaceable in the workplace. Join Funday now. No matter your English level, we can help you elevate your competitiveness. Funday.
The president of Honduras, Xiomara Castro, has declared an immediate curfew in a town where 13 people were shot dead last Saturday. She described the killings in a pool hole in Chomola as a brutal and ruthless terrorist attack. The victims, who were at a birthday party, were 12 men and 1 woman. Separate murders in the northern Sula Valley region brought Saturday's death toll to at least 20 and are thought to be linked to drug trafficking gangs.
Starting last Sunday, there has been an active curfew from 2100 to 4 o'clock, which will run for at least 15 days. It will be extended to nearby San Pedro Sula, the Central American country. President Castro said the measures were being put in place in response to the brutal and ruthless terrorist attack by hired killers trained and directed by drug lords in the Sula Valley. The president said, multiple operations, raids, captures and checkpoints are initiated.
Greek conservative leader Kyriakos Mitsotakis has trounced his center-left rival in the second election in a month and said he has a strong mandate to move faster on the path of change. His New Democracy Party won 40.5% of the vote, almost 23 points ahead of Syriza, with most of the votes counted. He beat Syriza in May, but called new election in a bid to win a majority. He told delighted supporters in Athens, Andy is today the most powerful center-right party in Europe.
Mr. Mitsotakis is credited with successfully returning the Greek economy to stability and growth after a severe debt crisis and 3 international bailouts. Although many Greeks are struggling with the cost of living crisis, voters chose to stick with the party promising lower taxes and improved public health care. Mr. Mitsotakis said he could not promise miracles, but that New Democracy had high goals to transform Greece through better public health services and education.
South Korean airlines have decided to downsize the number of routes between South Korea and China during the summer peak season, following less than expected passenger demand for traveling between the two countries. Korean Air said it will stop the operation of routes between Gimpo International Airport and Beijing from August 1st to October 28th, while its routes connecting Incheon Airport and Xi'an will also be suspended from August 9th to October 28th.
Korea's second largest carrier, Asiana Airlines, also said it has suspended flights on the Incheon-Xi'an route since last Tuesday. The airline is considering reducing flights between Gimpo and Beijing from July 6. The Incheon-Shenzhen route will also be suspended starting July 8. All three routes are set to resume operations on October 28. The suspension of major flight routes comes as demand from South Koreans to travel to China has plunged as the number of Chinese passengers flying into South Korea decreased.
North Korean state media reported on Monday the country held mass rallies in Pyongyang where people shouted slogans vowing a war of revenge to destroy the United States as it marked the 73rd anniversary of the outbreak of the Korean War. North Korean state news agency KCNA reported about 120,000 working people and students took part in the rallies held across the capital on Sunday. Photos released by state media showed a stadium crowded with people holding placards reading, "The imperialist U.S. is the destroyer of peace."
Sunday's anniversary came amid concerns Pyongyang could soon conduct another launch of its first military spy satellite after its first attempt ended in failure on May 31. Nuclear-armed North Korea has been testing various weapons including its biggest intercontinental ballistic missile, ramping up tension with the South and the South's main ally, the United States. North Korea said the U.S. was making desperate efforts to ignite a nuclear war, accusing Washington of sending strategic assets to the region.
Now let's delve into the news of South Korean airlines cutting flights to China. Number 1. Downsize. 公司企业等裁员精简. American manufacturing organizations have been downsizing their factories. Number 2. Peak. 顶峰高峰. She's at the peak of her career. Number 3. Route. 路线路途. Which is the best route to take? And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune in to Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I'll see you next time.